गाओ गाओ, रुक क्यों गई?
Right at the 1 hour mark of Muzaffar Ali's intoxicating film Umrao Jaan, a random man intrudes the private spaces of a Tawaif's quarters occupied by Nawab Sultan, and the irony of the arrangement is made clear right at the get-go.
ये तलवार देखी
ये
है?
अखाड़ा नहीं है खान साहब। अगर मुकाबले का शौक है तो बाहर आइए, हो जाए दो हाथ।
To have a film with an iconic, silent protagonist who has no say in the matters of the men around her hints at the deep-seated tragic undertone that the entire story reeks of. Setback after setback hits the ill-fated life of Umrao as the strength of her poetry only heightens with each passing moment. This absurd triumph in the eyes of Rekha that blinds us from an otherwise weak plot and mediocre editing merits a revisit as we find ourselves trying to look deeper this month into the 1981 film.
दिल ही नहीं हुजूर, मेरी जान लीजिए, बस एक बार मेरा कहा मान लीजिए।
वाह,
Umrao Jaan is for the most part a musical, and it begins with a young Umrao finding her way into learning classical music despite the awful circumstances of being kidnapped and sold to a prostitute's quarters as a measure of revenge against her father. But the pain and longing for love that is thus born translates into songs by Khayyam that fortunately find their outlet through Asha Bhonsle's passionate voice. While all songs featuring Rekha hit the intense drama they are supposed to, Zindagi by Talat Aziz gives us some soft respite of an ephemeral love we are about to see fall apart.
जाने दीजिए नवाब साहब, अब तो कुछ भी याद नहीं रहा।
The dialogue of Umrao Jaan finds its peak when Umrao has a first conversation with her Nawab lover played by Farooq Sheikh. Every line spoken by the characters carries an etiquette much unlike the setting underneath, and as a result we get an irony in the film that is unsettling but rich, and honestly quite tough to grasp for a 21st century audience. It only adds to the elusive aura of the entire film, however, remaining committed to the times it belongs to.
क्यों आज उसका नाम मेरा दिल दुखा गया?
Having the ever-vibrant Rekha at the center of the film's romantic grandeur meant that whichever man came in her path, from Nasiruddin Shah to Farooq Sheikh, found themselves in awe of her grace. Somewhere in the expressions of these men, one could already get a glimpse of the ever-fleeting moments of love they would never get to experience again, as fate interrupted all their illusions. Umrao Jaan in this way bears the burden of a love that can never be achieved, a love which will always fall short of reality.
हम तो समझे थे कि तुम मर गई हो, लेकिन तुम अभी तक जिंदा हो।
There can be an entire discussion on who the villain of Muzaffar Ali's Umrao Jaan is. Is it Dilawar, the crooked dacoit whose actions forever pulled Umrao out of home? Or was it the system of prostitution that caged Umrao and made her an object to be toyed by men? It could even be argued that the ultimate villain of the film is her own brother, someone who in childhood she took great care of, but who can't even hear her story out in return. Perhaps the film's final word is that no matter the resolve of Umrao to find love in her life, the times were such that its older men and women submitted to them instead of rising up and upholding the freedom of the soul.
बिस्मिल्लाह।
Personally, it seems to us that the plot and pacing of the film doesn't quite age well, alongside an editing that is a bit casual. For instance,
हुजूर, यही है।
when Gohar suggests Sultan to give Umrao a look, the camera then cuts instead to a shot of Khayyam Jaan in place of beginning with Umrao's performance. While such cuts could be overlooked back in the times thanks to the sheer strength of the song that follows, they can easily be subject to scrutiny when looking back from now. Nonetheless, the film's beats and lines carry an unimaginable potency that defies its inevitable fate as a tragedy. At Retrofusion Boutique Homestays, we strive to give you a complete freedom to enjoy Maharashtra's holiday capital Lonavala at its best. So check us out. We hope you enjoyed revisiting Umrao Jaan with us, and may your Bollywood craze never die.